Hello, Uncle Russ here to talk about comic books again. Happy holidays to you. We're going to be talking about some comic books that we have for sale today on Lot 22 Sellers on eBay. Going to talk about just a few of them here. First up, Batman and the Outsiders, issue number one from 1983. Mike W. Barr, Jim Aparo, my favorite Batman artist probably of all time. Jim Aparo on the cover there. There you see Batman starting his new team with, he's got Metamorpho, Geoforce, Black Lightning, uh, Katana, Halo. Good book, only $9.99. The steal yours today for $9.99. Next up, a little bit of comic book history. Daredevil, issue number 181 from the critically acclaimed and highly valued run of Frank Miller and Klaus Janson on Daredevil. This is the double-sized issue that brought us the death, the first death, if you will, first of several, of Elektra. But this is a highly valued book. You can complete your Daredevil run with this, only $34.99. Next up, a first issue of one of my favorite characters. This is the 1980s series of Supergirl, which I think was the best one. The daring new adventures of Supergirl. Not just new, but daring new adventures with a daring new costume. One of my absolute favorites. You got to just love that. That's a cover by Buckler and Giordano, but inside we've got the work of the classic Carmen Infantino, inks by Bob Oxner. This is a real important part of your Superman, Supergirl collection, $9.99. And another historic first for you Marvel collectors, Ms. Marvel. This is the Carol Danvers version of Captain Marvel. This is the first issue. Jerry Conway, John Buscema, and Jolton Joe Sinnott. This is a piece of Marvel history that can be yours for only $39.99. Next up, we have an offering featuring my personal favorite comic book character of all time, Superman, 1983. This is essentially was a continuation of the line of Superman annuals. They called them specials for a while. This one is a real gem, and it's a real good buy for only $3.99. You've got story, artwork, and cover by Gil Kane, one of the greatest of all time, tackling one of the greatest characters of all time. Superman Special number one, $3.99. Next up, we have Ben Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. In the very first issue of his solo series, spinning out of the events of Secret Wars. Cover by John Byrne. This was written by John Byrne with art by Ron Wilson and the late great Jolton Joe Sinnott. This is a real good buy of a really excellent title, only $19.99. All right, and next up we have the Uncanny X-Men, number 268. Legendary run by Chris Claremont with artwork by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Cover, one of my favorite covers of the entire series by the great Jim Lee. There you've got Wolverine, Captain America, and Black Widow. This is a highly valued run and a highly valued issue. It's yours today for only $29.99. And listen, my name is Uncle Russ, and we'll be coming to you each week, bringing you some books for sale. But I also want to talk to you about comic book collecting in general. I've been collecting and reading comic books as long as I've been able to read, basically. My favorites would be in comic book fandom. They would call me a DC nerd, a Silver Age nerd. That period of time, the 1950s through the early 70s, would be my favorite period. But having a preference for DC doesn't mean I don't love Marvel also. Always my favorite, Superman, any of the classic characters from DC, Superman, Batman, Supergirl, always up there. Do not read currently a lot of Batman books. There's way too many of them on the scene right now. But the classic stuff going back a few years never gets old to me, and I'll always enjoy that. I'll be bringing some things from my own collection to show you in the weeks to come so that we can peruse that together. And there's many, many, many different genres of comic books that have come and gone through the years, some of which are not really being published right now. I've got tons of books in the genres of Western comics, romance comics, a lot of really good work of the past that isn't being done much anymore. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to have new books for sale every week also. Hopefully you found something that you like today. If you'd like to purchase any of these books, check for the links in the description below. There'll be more books for sale every week. Lot 22 sellers on eBay. Lot 22. Have a good day. Luck.